restart the motors. Robert, what's the matter?
Your spaceship will sink in the ash. The beautiful Earth woman will die.
All right, Steve. We're in orbit. Robert is in the rear control center.
That launch rail. That transparent robot. That theme song you haven't heard in decades but still know every word to. The name came from motor oil, the robot's voice came from a medical device, and the show pioneered effects that Hollywood would quietly borrow for years. We're counting down 10 wild facts about Fireball XL5 that'll transport you straight back to 1962.
Steve Zodiac, you appear to have recovered from the effects of the coma.
Number 10. A ship inside a ship. Colonel Steve Zodiac piloting that sleek rocket through the cosmos is probably the image most people hold on to from this show. But there's a piece of engineering hiding in plain sight that's genuinely easy to miss. Fireball XL5 wasn't just one spacecraft. It was a modular design with a secret weapon built right into its nose. That distinctive winged nose cone, officially called Fireball Jr., was completely detachable from the main vessel. It housed the cockpit and functioned as its own self-contained landing craft for planetary exploration. While the main section stayed safely in orbit, the crew could descend to alien surfaces in their compact shuttle, basically a space-age RV with a detachable vehicle strapped to the front. Pretty sophisticated thinking for a puppet show from 1962, and it meant every mission had two different stories potentially running at once. The launch system that got them up there in the first place was equally inventive, if a little more dramatic.
Okay, Venus?
Okay, Steve.
Right. Let's go.
Number 9. The mile-long launch you never question. Every episode, you watched Fireball XL5 blast off and probably never stopped to think about how unusual that launch system actually was. There was genuine method to the madness, though. The XL5 didn't launch like a typical rocket. Instead, it rocketed down a mile-long rail that ended in a dramatic 40-degree incline, accelerating along this massive track before shooting skyward at that steep angle. That unconventional method was reportedly based on rumored Soviet space launch concepts from the era. During the space race, everyone was obsessed with what the Russians might be building, and the Andersons took those Cold War whispers and turned them into weekly spectacle. Every launch became an event, not just a routine departure. That incline gave each takeoff a visceral punch that a standard vertical launch never could have matched, making the opening minutes feel genuinely exciting even on a rewatch. The Cold War paranoia embedded in the launch mechanics also shaped the show's most memorable recurring villains.
All right, Steve. We're in orbit. Robert is in the rear control center. You are clear to go.
Number 8. Mr. and Mrs. Space Spy. Not every threat to Earth came from tentacled aliens or meteor storms. Some dangers wore suits and spoke with Russian accents. The recurring antagonists, Boris and Griselda Space Spy, were a villainous husband and wife team of Russian origin who first appeared in the episode Spy in Space and kept returning for more sabotage throughout the series. Their ongoing mission? Steal Fireball XL5 or destroy Earth's space program entirely. In 1962, with the Cold War at its absolute peak, this was exactly the kind of espionage-flavored villainy that felt genuinely threatening rather than cartoonish. Kids watching understood these weren't fantasy baddies. They represented real-world anxieties wrapped in puppet-sized packaging, adding a spy thriller undercurrent to the space opera formula. David Graham and Sylvia Anderson voiced the pair, and Sylvia's contributions to the show ran considerably deeper than voice work alone.
Your Earth woman is quite safe for the moment.
Where is she?
She is out there in the rocket.
Number 7. The face that launched 1,000 ships. Dr. Venus was Fireball XL5's brilliant space medicine expert, and her puppet face looked remarkably familiar to anyone who knew the production team. Her puppet's face was deliberately modeled on Sylvia Anderson herself, who also provided the character's voice. As co-creator of the series alongside her husband Gerry, Sylvia essentially played an animated version of herself every single episode. Colonel Zodiac personally selected Dr. Venus for his crew, recognizing her medical expertise as essential for deep space missions. She was resourceful, intelligent, and central to countless plot resolutions. The kind of capable professional woman the Andersons genuinely wanted children to see in action on screen. When you watched Venus save the day with her medical knowledge, you were watching Sylvia Anderson's vision of what women could be in a spacefaring future. Her face, her voice, her character entirely. Gerry left his own personal mark on the show in a way nobody could have predicted from the outside.
Your spaceship will sink in the ash. The beautiful Earth woman will die.
Number 6. The robot voice you'll never forget. Robert the Robot served as the transparent co-pilot with a voice that etched itself permanently into memory. The method behind that robotic monotone was genuinely strange. Gerry Anderson provided Robert's voice, but not through any kind of normal vocal performance. He achieved that distinctive mechanical sound by speaking through an actual artificial larynx, a medical device typically used by people who've lost their voice boxes, which created Robert's signature muffled electronic quality. That's exactly why On Our Way Omem became iconic the way it did. Anderson had to learn to speak through this device clearly enough for audiences to follow while still maintaining the robotic texture. No synthesizers, no studio processing, no manipulation after the fact. Just a man with a medical device bringing a see-through robot to life every week. The Andersons had a genuine gift for solving production problems through the least obvious means available, and that same resourcefulness shaped the physical design of the show's sets too.
Say, how about that coffee?
Oh gee, I'm sorry. I'm a tootie. I almost forgot.
Number 5. The restaurant that reached the stars. Space City's rotating control tower dominated the show's Earth-based sequences. That 25-story T-shaped structure wasn't just futuristic dressing. It had a surprisingly ordinary, real-world inspiration. The iconic spinning tower was directly inspired by contemporary revolving restaurants. In the early 1960s, these rotating dining establishments were the height of architectural novelty, and the Andersons decided that was exactly what a space command center should feel like. The filming model was crafted from wood and card, materials about as low-tech as possible. Yet on screen, it looked like gleaming 21st century architecture. The rotation gave Space City a sense of motion and technological advancement that a static building simply couldn't convey. The future, it turns out, was built from cardboard and dinner reservations. What the Andersons were doing with cameras was just as quietly significant as anything happening in the model shop.
Turn back, Steve.
It's too late. I've got to keep going now.
Number 6. Television's first visual effects pioneer. Fireball XL5 holds a distinction that most viewers never realized. This puppet series quietly revolutionized how television created impossible images. The show was the very first TV series to employ front projection-based visual effects. This technique projects background images onto a screen behind the performers, creating the illusion of exotic locations without building elaborate physical sets. Before Fireball XL5, this method simply hadn't appeared in episodic television. The implications were enormous. Front projection would become essential to countless productions that followed. Stanley Kubrick famously used the technique for the ape sequences in 2001: A Space Odyssey, but a British puppet show had been there years earlier. All those alien landscapes, those star fields, those impossible vistas, were groundbreaking technical achievement dressed up as children's entertainment. The Andersons were actively working out the future of visual storytelling as they made a weekly TV show. Their vision of the actual future, meanwhile, took some memorable liberties with the science.
Venus, get help. Fast.
Number 4. Forget your spacesuit, pop a pill. Space exploration in 2062 had apparently solved one of humanity's biggest logistical headaches. Bulky spacesuits were completely obsolete. Rather than wearing protective suits during spacewalks, the crew of Fireball XL5 simply took oxygen pills to survive the vacuum of space. then strapped on thruster packs and floated freely among the stars with no helmets required. This was gloriously impractical science, even by 1962 standards. The idea that a pill could let you breathe in a vacuum ignored basically everything known about biology and physics. But it looked fantastic on screen. Puppets could move freely without stiff suit constraints, and space became accessible, almost casual. Every kid who watched probably assumed oxygen pills would exist by now. Unfortunately, they seem to have hit some significant development snags over the past 6 decades, and we're still stuck with the bulky suits for every spacewalk. The show's flexible relationship with scientific reality extended all the way to when the story was set.
Robert, restart the motors. Robert, what's the matter?
Number 3. The Century That Almost Was. Fireball XL5 was set in 2062. Close enough to feel plausible, far enough to allow anything. The original concept placed it nearly 1,000 years further into the future. The series was initially developed under the title Century 21 and planned for the year 2962, the 30th century, not the 21st. For reasons lost somewhere in production history, the setting was pulled back 900 years to the more immediate future of 2062. That change almost certainly helped the show feel relevant to Cold War audiences, for whom the space race made 2062 feel genuinely achievable, something viewers might actually live to see. The year 2962 would have been pure fantasy, disconnected from the real contemporary dreams of space exploration playing out on the news every week. The Century 21 name didn't vanish entirely. It became the name of the Andersons' production company and their substantial merchandise empire, an abandoned title that found a whole new life as a brand. The ship's actual name had an equally surprising origin.
Proceed with launching. Resuming countdown at -40.
Number 2. The most mundane origin story ever. Fireball XL5 sounds impossibly cool, futuristic, powerful, mysterious. The actual inspiration was automotive lubricant. The XL designation came directly from Castrol XL engine oil. Gerry Anderson saw the product name and felt those 2 letters perfectly captured the sleek, high-performance feeling he was going for with his spacecraft. So Earth's most advanced rocket ship was named after something you'd pour into a car engine. This wasn't unusual for the Andersons. They drew inspiration from everywhere, including the most ordinary products of daily life, and the genius was always in the transformation. Nobody watching in 1962 was thinking about motor oil when XL5 blazed across their screens. It's a bit like finding out the Starship Enterprise was named after a brand of dish soap. The magic was entirely in what they constructed around those borrowed letters, and the Andersons understood that context creates meaning better than almost anyone working in television at the time.
3 hours to go before noon. It's like an oven down here already.
Number 1. A genuine pop chart hit. The closing theme wasn't just a catchy tune you hummed on the way to school. It was a legitimate commercial chart success. Fireball, performed by Don Spencer and arranged by Charles Blackwell, spent 12 weeks on the UK music charts in early 1963, peaking at number 32 in March of that year. A puppet show theme song competing directly with pop stars for radio play and record sales and genuinely holding its own. Kids weren't just watching the show, they were buying the single, requesting it on the radio, and turning it into a genuine hit entirely on its own merits. Don Spencer's vocals gave the song an earnest, soaring quality that matched the show's optimistic vision of space exploration perfectly. It wasn't ironic or campy or self-aware. It was genuinely inspiring, and audiences responded accordingly. 12 weeks on the charts from a children's puppet program is remarkable by any standard, and it speaks to how completely the Andersons had connected with something real in the culture. So there you have it. Fireball XL5 was named after motor oil, featured a robot voiced through a medical device, pioneered television special effects, and produced an actual charting pop single. The show drew inspiration from revolving restaurants, Cold War paranoia, and Soviet launch rumors, proof that the Andersons were watching the whole world and filing everything away. Colonel Steve Zodiac and his crew weren't just fighting alien threats in 2062. They were quietly revolutionizing what television could accomplish in 1962. Until next time, keep your oxygen pills handy and your thruster packs charged. We're on our way home.